end of the discussion as well. So without any further delay, let's get the session started. And without over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kavya. And good morning, all of you. Thanks for joining this session early in the day. And hopefully you will get a lot of insights about the platform today. My name is Noopur Chaturvedi, and I will be the moderator for today's discussion. As we all know, BBPS is an RBI conceptualized payment platform. It was introduced to offer integrated, interoperable, and accessible bill payment services to all Indians. What started with a few compulsive categories like electricity and gas is today offering very cost-efficient collection services to organizations across 20 plus categories. And the current ecosystem is largely thanks to our operating unit partners. They have added 20,000 plus billers, 250 digital channels, and indeed 5 million plus physical touchpoints to the ecosystem. In the last couple of months, we are now clocking transactions on a monthly basis. However, the opportunity is massive. And today, I'm delighted to have eminent speakers who have been our biggest champions over the last few years. Can I request the panel members to introduce themselves and also share about their association with BBPS? Can I request Pranay to start? Pranay?
Sorry, I was on mute. So first and foremost, I got a very, very warm welcome to all the delegates and all my fellow panelists. Well, as Euronet and personally as well, right from the time the GAG report or the GIRO report was published by RBI to the authorizations and pilot and the operationalization of BBPS, we've been associated very, very closely. And as you rightly said, Noopur, it has grown to be interoperable, secure system, giving access to all the channels that we have and all payment methods, and we onboarded 20,000 plus billers. Now, I would call that BBPS 1. Now, we've played our role in terms of onboarding billers and, as I said, participated in the pilot. And also, we've boarded, we function as a COU as well, a customer operating unit as well, whereby, we get clients who could access the BBPS system. So it has been a great journey. It has been a challenging journey, a lot of learnings. Are we happy with the growth? Yes. Can we do better? Absolutely. I mean, I would look at growing this system 2x, 3x, 5x in the next couple of years. And I would call that BBPS 2.0. So very excited and look forward to the growth of the system.
Thank you, Pranay. Can I request Vishwas to share a few words with us?
Thanks, Noopur. So I am Vishwas Patel. I'm the chairman of the Payments Council of India, the umbrella body of all payments companies. I'm also the executive director at Infibeam Avenues Limited. We run CC Avenue Payment Gateway, also Bill Avenue, which is part of the Bharat BillPay systems right from its inception in the last 5 years. We added thousands of billers, lakhs of agents, and very glad to work with Bharat BillPay and looking forward to the Bharat Pay 2.0 journey, how we can really, really scale it up to the next level. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Vishwas. Can I now request Ganesh to share his intro and association with us?
Thank you, Noopur. So I'm Ganesh Iyer. I manage banking, insurance, and FD operations for Bajaj Finance. So our association with NPCI goes like 2-3 years back. So we thank NPCI for giving us the opportunity to do the pilot run for BBPS when NBFC was given the option to be added as a biller. And we were proud and happy to say that we were the first NBFC to go live in this platform. And it's been a roaring success for us. So to give you a check on the volumes that we manage, we bank 16 million instruments every month. And of that, those customers who miss the payments, this is a very wonderful option to repay the money, right? So it's a very digital and convenient for the customers. And for us also, like it avoids cash collections. It's a digital touch-free option to the customers. And it's worked very well so far. But there are a lot more Like as Pranay said, BBPS 2.0 is awaiting. We want to increase the penetration a lot more. There are still dropouts. Customer once comes, there's a 70% success in any digital mode if you take, right? So there are chances to improve the penetration and also give more options to the customer. So that's what we are looking forward to.
Sure. Thanks, Ganesh. And last but not the least, can I request Gaurav to share his thoughts in terms of introduction and his association with us?
Sure. Thanks, Noopur. First of all, I hope everybody who's watching this is safe and your families are safe in this time. We continue to go through this extended period of the pandemic. But I'm really excited to be part of this panel. So thanks everybody for inviting me here. My association with Bharat BillPay payment system is around 4 years old. When we started at Amazon launching these digital payment categories on Amazon. At that point of time, I think it was pretty exciting to see that BBPS could provide a lot of these categories in one go under one umbrella. So that's when we partnered with them. We've been a part of the journey where we've seen this experience really improve in front of us. I think the team has been continuously raising the bar. But like everybody said, I think we expect more and more from the system. So really looking forward to the second part of this journey.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that, Gaurav. As we start the discussion, I would request Vishwas and Pranay to share with us what should be the top 3 priorities for BBPS in the coming 3 to 5 year time horizon. Can I request Vishwas to share his thoughts first?
Right, Noopur. I think the first thing, Noopur, is that we need to scale up more on the existing, on the overall ecosystem. You're aware that 30,800 million bills are generated of almost 6,200 odd billion rupees in just top 20 cities alone. So the coverage area that we have today, specifically in the municipalities, be it on the recurring land, the aqua tax, the property taxes, and we need to cover the municipalities more. We need to go more. So the coverage area needs to be improved, right? Second thing is definitely we need to improve further on the Bharat Bill Pays on the uniform customer experience, right? Today, BBPS should work on uniformity of the customer experience. Today, like for example, today customers are not able to make bill payments to BBPS, but at the same time they go through the non-BBPS channel because either the billers and it is not updated, or billers website does not get that updated billers bill. But if done through the biller's website, somehow it's get updated in real time. So providing that uniform experience to customers will make it stick to the BBPS platform for doing their future payments. And last and not that is a small thing like a faster refunds. Like in BBPS, refunds are still happening manually through the Canvas platform, where the BOU initiates and the refund on biller's request. So the refund request is then assigned it to a COU and then to the respective agent institution. This process is consuming, and it should be replaced by the API model, which can reduce the overall TAT. Right, the API should also be accessible to the biller for fetching all this refund, reference ID, and other things. But these are some of the small things to this thing. Again, instead of carpet bombing and getting and acquiring more and more categories, we need to be more and more specific categories with a larger population to end. RBI has opened it up for every kind of recurring billing, but we need to keep the focus on the Bharat Bill Pay and the bill payments, specifically in municipalities and many others. So, Noopur, that's my little bit thoughts.
No, thanks, Vishwas. And you made 2 very, very important points. One around the customer experience, be it on the payment side or the refund side, and also around being very sharply focused on certain categories and certain set of billers. Thanks for that input, Vishwas. Pranay, what are your thoughts around the top 3 priorities that should be taken forward?
So I will add to what Vishwas said, and maybe there could be some overlap. But yeah, 3-4 priorities that we would want to work upon as a BBPS cohort. So one is, we have onboarded billers and we've onboarded biller segments, right? So we need to realize the complete potential in those segments. Like, for example, we have 70, 80 billers in the electricity category, for example. We need to realize the complete potential over there. Now, a lot of bilaterals are still continuing, which is, the regulator has mandated bilaterals should stop. Likewise, NPCI has mandated. So, and starting tomorrow, all the auto pay and standing instructions are, done away with. So it's a great opportunity right now that we have to stop the bilaterals immediately, which would bring in more value and volume of transactions to the BBPS ecosystem. So that's point number one. Point number two, according to me, I think viable economics, if we have to grow 2x, 3x, 5x from here, and all the constituents in the BBPS, whether we have the BOUs, COUs, the agent institutions, everybody needs to make some amount of money, right? Because we are enterprises for profit. So in the past, initially during the mad rush to onboard billers, we've had billers being onboarded with subvention schemes and negative margins. So I think we've reached a level of maturity. So we need to ensure that the economics are viable for everybody. Third point, according to me, would be looking at newer categories which can bring in more volume and value into the system. And maybe look at the credit card bill payment category or the insurance category, mutual funds. There are many taxes, tax payments. So there are tons of categories and opportunities in front of us. So I guess as a cohort, again, we need to identify those categories and go after billers in those categories. Technology is very important. If we have to do all of this, we really require a very, very stable, robust, and a highly scalable architecture, maybe a sort of a private cloud or a hybrid cloud architecture, so that the customer experience is consistent and is not impacted. And maybe I'll have my friend Gaurav talk about customer experience more. And lastly, in terms of creating awareness, see, a lot of our agent institutions and COUs have millions and millions of customers on their platforms. Now, how many of those are actually transacting on BBPS? So whether we send out notifications, put banners on their platforms, maybe we work with billers and offer certain incentive programs, to get the customer onboarded the first time, onto BBPS. So a whole host of digital marketing initiatives and initiatives around creating awareness. We have done some ATL activities, over the years, but we also need to look at all the BTL activities and digital marketing. So these are some of my thoughts, to grow the system and take the leap into BBPS 2.0.
Thanks, Pranay. In fact, thanks for such a comprehensive set of priorities. I couldn't agree with it more. Now, the ecosystem actors who play a very important role on the demand side continue to be the COUs like Amazon Pay, who we have on panel as representation, the agent institutes and agents who Vishwas continues to bring more of. However, end of the day, the customer is the king. I wanted to, discuss with the panel what should be the brand-led strategy to get mindshare of the customers. And linked to this question is also that the customers still preferred to go to the biller's own cash point to pay the bills. What should be the best way of acquiring and converting those customers for less cash economy? And this question I would want Gaurav to take first, because Amazon has done such a wonderful job in converting cash to digital transactions. So Gaurav, I would like to begin with you to ask what should be our strategy to get more customer visibility, mind share, and how to convert the cash transactions of today.
Sure, Noopur. So, like I think discussed that, BBPS has become really big. We have thousands and thousands of billers, and we all know how difficult that task was. But a customer, unfortunately, doesn't care about that number. What they care about is the 2 or 3 billers that they interact with and what their experience with those billers was. And even just one bad experience in one of those bill payment transactions pushes them back to the status quo or the cash. So like you rightly said, what we are doing as a group is competing against cash and the local offline and we're trying to convince the customers and bring them online. And I think that, in my view, at least the top two or three things that are holding the customer back, I think the first one is just complete selection. If even for the large categories, and I'm not saying we should have all the categories, but for the categories that we have, and an example I'll give is a customer doesn't expect to come on Amazon to buy a car. But if he comes on Amazon to buy a phone and he doesn't find that phone, then he gets upset. So I think with that, I would say, hey, for the 5-10 categories that we are looking, or the 20 categories that we know we are the leaders in, we should have full selection. Right? We shouldn't have anything missing in that. That's one. I think the second one is reliability. Even now, a lot of the billers are not, especially the smaller billers, are not fully reliable. They have 5 to 6% downtime in the month. And that again puts the customer off, because you're competing with the offline system where he knows what time the store is open. I can go here and I can pay here. But with digital, the expectations just shoot up. So we need a near 100% reliability, 100% success rates. And I think the last one is the most important one, which is trust. With what we realize is the most important barrier is trust. If the customer doesn't trust that I made this payment and it will go through 100%, they will always hesitate. And even one instance of failure will make them to put 10 customers away from the digital system. So there should be no instance where a customer has made his payment and it is rejected and his power was cut for whatever reason. So I think as an ecosystem, that 100% success rate, that 100% availability is what we need to aspire for the universe we are playing with. And once we bring that in, I think the brand automatically follows, because that will be what the brand stands for. The brand stands for the best way to pay your bills, right? And it is best as compared to everything, even an offline one. So I personally think the brand strategy will follow the value strategy if we solve for these few things. Because honestly, the customer doesn't care about the brand. They just care about the 100% success.
Thanks, Gaurav, and I couldn't agree with you more that the brand will fall into place if the value is put into place first. And you made some very, very pertinent points there. Can I also request Ganesh, given the fact that he has indeed converted so many of his customers into digital mode of payment, to share his insights on what can we do more to bring customers on board with us.
Yeah, thanks, Noopur. So as I said in the earlier notes, like how to increase the digital penetration, like how to convert more offline customers to online, right? That would be our first key priority. How to increase the stickiness, how to send them more nudges, right? So how to increase the awareness, that would be the first priority. That we'll have to work with OEMs, that we do. But how can BBPS also help us doing that? That would be the first drive. Second is, we still have customers who still want to pay cash only, right? So there are those set of customers who are not so easy to be converted. For them, we still have a huge network of BBPS which is available at banks, non-banks, but somehow it's not a tap, right? So that we discussed offline as well. So how can BBPS and NPCI work with us to develop this scope for us? That would be the next key priority for us, because a customer may not be aware that just next to his door, he can pay his bill instead of coming to his biller desk, which is far and away. In a city like Bombay, you could save 1 hour just to pay a payment, right? So that would be a big help from NPCI. And last but not the least, the next product that you're coming up with is the recurring option in BBPS 2.0. That is looking to be a wonderful proposition for us. I think it's as good as an e-mandate proposition. But only thing I would like to leave on the table is that the customer is having the option to cancel the mandate at any point of time. So if NPCI can bring in some structure to it, like take a consent from the financier before he cancels or he swaps the repayment mode, then it's as good as any other e-mandate option. I mean, that's the only.
Sure. Thanks, Ganesh. Moving on from customers to, I think, the heart and soul of the platform, which is the operating units. And no platform can really grow without the ecosystem equally growing along with the platform. And to that point, I wanted to again go to Pranay and ask that how do we align the business models around BBPS so that it is more market-led? and everyone in the ecosystem finds commercial benefit in participating. So Pranay, any thoughts that you would have on that?
In fact, Nupur, I already shared that as a priority.
Yes.
As I said, the economics have to be viable, right? Then only you will see participation, right? People coming forward and participating, whether it's onboarding billers or getting more and more customers onto the platform, they'll do their bit. If
Yes.
there is.
But Pranay, I think the dilemma comes in a differentiated pricing that the billers want to keep as their prerogative versus the standardized pricing that the platform it has been aspiring for. And to be able to balance both of them becomes a bit of a challenge at times. So how do we continue being cost efficient for the end users, which is customer and billers, while ensuring economics for the OUs is really the challenge at hand?
No, I was coming to that point. So, see, as far as billers are concerned, right, we need to, or billers as well as consumers, we as a cohort, we need to sell the value proposition of BBPS, and BBPS definitely brings in a lot of value proposition, whether it's the access to the distribution from a biller perspective, or guaranteed settlements, multiple settlements in a day, complaint management, a dispute management system, so on and so forth. The value adds are many. And then obviously, again, as a cohort, part of BBPS, we also need to look at more and more value adds. We need to keep on building on the value adds. So today, can we, and I'm just thinking aloud, can we provide an app to a biller whereby he can log in and see how much of money has been collected? What sort of transactions are happening, which regions, if it's a pan-India biller. So all sorts of insights, if we can give, that's a value add. So we'll have to think about value adds to the biller and the consumer. Today, let's say even without BBPS, when we had a fragmented bill payment system, through all the biller points and agent points, there was certain cost the billers were incurring. So, while we can try to offer a cost benefit, at least, the biller, if the value add is right, the biller would not mind paying similar cost to what he was incurring with all these value adds, right? So I think we consistently need to keep on building on the value adds and sell the proposition, as a cohort, very aggressively to billers as well as consumers. See, it's not only NPCI's responsibility, but all the participants in the ecosystem need to sell the value proposition of BBPS to help BBPS grow from here. So that would be my view, going forward.
Thanks, Pranay, and I completely agree that unless this value getting cost for the value chain becomes a difficulty. Vishwas, any thoughts you would want to add on to this point?
Sure, Noopur. I have worked in the travel space also, right? So we do power a lot of airlines, hospitality. I think they have cracked the code. I think rate parity is something that we need to understand. Now, if a particular electricity company, India is a big country, huge country, right? And if there's an electricity company in a town or a city, and all these years they are used to paying for their collection charges, say 5 rupees or 10 rupees or 12 rupees, and in some cases 15 rupees a bill also, right? While at Bharat BillPay, this is one of my biggest pointers, which I've been saying it time and again, is that we are sitting in our glass tower here in Mumbai and just giving that for electricity, it will be say 2 rupees, just an example, 2 rupees 25 paisa per bill across the country. It can't be that way. We need to have that concept called rate parity by the billers, where the agreements by a OU to a biller should specifically say that whatever commission that they are giving out best in the market, that rate parity that should be there on BBPS. And BBPS should have a system where, say, if a particular telco, like say Torrent Power in Gujarat, is giving out 10 rupees per biller as commission, and they are used to that, that commission they should pass on to the BBPS system. So the AIs and the agent institutions also get the same rate. Here we are putting one single rate, while the market Hence, if you see the growth in this particular category where we give out the agent network outside the system are pulling it directly from them rather than pulling it through the BBPS. And commercial consideration is the most important thing. And even from
Yes.
the AI's perspective, they also need margins and functionality. And if a particular power company is used all these years to give out such a collection charges, then why are we enforcing a less, even if we do more value adds, but if we are putting up with this thing. So that's one part of it. Second part, which I'm increasingly seeing, is when we are trying to onboard the billers. A lot of RFPs are coming out, Noopur, and the new so-called funded guys, VC guys, are going below the interchange rate that NPCI BBPS systems have set out, say for a particular category, just to get that particular merchant and many other things. So what happens that is that it is not feasible in the long run. They will continue doing it, and then later, somewhere down the time, they understand that it's a loss-making thing, then maybe the support and service issues and the other side will be affected on the AI and the IA side, agent side, where we don't get that kind of, as Gaurav said, we need that 100% success rate, we need that 100%. So if we put a bench line and the steering committee within the BBPS, that rule base that nobody can go below or something, that will be helpful for all participants and for the long run.
Sure. Thanks. Just taking cue from some of the things that Pranay and Vishwas mentioned. My next question to Ganesh is: do you think that the BBPS players aligning with industry-led bodies, let's say with the NBFC body or with other regulators or monitoring bodies or associations like MFIN, can that help leading to a faster adoption of the BBPS platform?
Yeah, definitely. So as I said,
I think we lost you, Ganesh.
Ganesh? Yeah, as Ganesh comes back, Gaurav, what are your thoughts around working with the industry-led bodies?
Sure. No, I think it's actually very important. There are multiple bodies who can help us solve some of the problems. So let's take financial bodies like banks and these, for example, right? Just on the point of revenue or making it sustainable. One very important thing that we could partner with is to say, hey, align the cost structure of payments, because that's one of the biggest costs, to the revenue structure of bills. So that's something we can work with the regulators, with the banking bodies, with the networks, payment networks, to say, hey, every BBPS transaction, the cost should be, very similar to. It's not to say that we increase the revenue. That also we should do based on the sustainability, but maybe we can bring the cost of payments down for utility categories to match that. So that's one way you could partner. You could partner with a lot of these. Some of these bodies are also channels for you, like the telcos, the media networks. They're also great channels for awareness, for driving this digitization. So I think just picking up some of these bodies where they're suppliers, where they are channels for awareness, where they even can generate demand, and just making these structural changes, which is what BBPS is uniquely placed to do, because you can bring that whole platform to play. Each biller cannot do this, but you can actually make some of these large changes, which will benefit everybody.
Thanks. Thanks for sharing that, Gaurav. Going back to Pranay. Pranay, since BBPS was conceptualized as a recurring payment platform, do you think a unified presentation management system that is led by CU will help the ecosystem?
No, definitely it would help. It was conceptualized as a recurring payment system, and we have newer categories like prepaid, which the regulator has allowed recently. But yes, a unified presentation system would definitely help the entire ecosystem, and would deliver a lot of benefits. So, I mean, CU definitely needs to work on this and have a unified system.
Sure.
so
Pranay,
am I
there's
audible?
one. Yes, you are.
Yeah. Okay.
You're back, Ganesh.
Yeah.
Yes,
So taking your
please.
question, Noopur, so like as we said, there are some challenges like for us to independently work with the partners. So if BBPS can, like for the example that I gave, the offline mode. So if BBPS can make it mandatory for the banks or the non-banks to accept the payments and propagate the channel, then it definitely will help us, right? So if that's the question that you're asking.
Yes. Thanks. Thanks for covering that question. I think we are headed towards the closure of our time. And one last question to all of you. Before we take on the delegate questions, I would not want to disappoint them by not taking on those. So really two questions, and I would want all of you to cover that. One is, if there's one category you feel the maximum growth can come from, which category would you bet on? And the second is, between penetrating in the existing categories versus expansion of categories, which of these two strategies would you pick? Again, Ganesh, maybe you can start and we will go around the room.
Yeah, so I think key priority would be to enhance the current proposition that we have. Like there's still a lot of scope in the options that are already available with in this product. So my proposition would be to increase that penetration.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Vishwas. Would you want to take that question?
Yeah, Nupur, I think BBPS should focus on existing categories which has a larger penetration. Currently, lots of municipal corporations and councils are still working on the traditional way for tax collections.
Yes.
We should focus on digitizing those bill payments in such rural areas rather than broadly opening up new billers which are already working on online payment customers. Particularly, we have to understand that BBPS is for the public good. We are not here looking for volumes, but we are trying to digitize and make those payments happen, which traditionally have been going through the cash mode. There's like 29 lakh crores of cash in the market. We need to make this a less cash society, and BBPS is a public good institution. So rather than focusing on getting newer volumes, opening up this municipal where you can pay your Satbara land assessment tax or your aqua tax across the country. I have so many agents across the country in remote towns also where their local electricity board is not there, and many others bill options which are there in his local locality is not there. So hence the BBPS usage for him is not less. Going on a just trying to gain 2, 3, 4 million transactions more on a new category which is already happening, done, sorted, will not be that public good what BPS stands for. Also, even if you see the customers making electronic bill payments, walking into their own collection points is like we need to create more marketing and customer awareness where once we have onboarded these billers to these agents, how they can quickly just sit at one place and do it with a click is something that customer awareness is something that we need to focus more on once we get all these billers online. Even if you see the current strata of this 20,323 billers as of today on NPCI, 95% are education institutes which hardly any volume contribution, right? So even those we need to work on a charge to a customer model on their payment gateway channel so that they expect the same in BBPS. So these are some of the changes. BBPS is a customer-centric scheme, which acts as a bridge between the customer and the biller. So BBPS should focus more on customer awareness with the help of billers to make their bill payments through the BBPS channel. And we need to get those billers which are impossibility to get so that we have good real billers rather than volume generations like a prepaid recharge or anything which is already sorted. So that's my view, but open to how BBPS will steer it accordingly.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Vishwas, and really appreciate the view that you've shared, specifically around, making it available at the rural areas and really trying to convert cash as a focus. With that, I thank all the panelists for sharing their thoughts, and we got all perspectives from a customer-led perspective shared, by Gaurav to a pillar perspective led by Ganesh, and really the ecosystem and OU perspective that came from both Pranay and Vishwas. Very valuable insights. And I now would want to just take on the Q&A which some of the delegates have posted. The first question is from a question to Vishwas on whether urban local bodies and municipalities are indeed equipped to process their bills and invoices on BBPS platform technically. How adaptable are they to come on to BBPS?
So, Noopur, the challenge is twofold. One is definitely one is on the RFP process that they have. Traditionally, very difficult to crack that. Second thing, getting them on board to work on the way their digitization work. So we need to do a lot of work in helping them digitize their bills so that we can, convert that whole bill structure every time it is generated in a smooth API, which we can onboard in a real time onto NPCI systems and other things. That digitization, we need to put some money on how we can digitize, specifically in rural areas. Because I myself have been in a village somewhere outside Guwahati in Assam, where you tell them that where are all your bills generated, and he would go below the table and kick his leg on a CPU and say, look, this is where all our bills are. So to get that bills there in a very smooth and give Gaurav on Amazon Pay the smooth experience of real-time payments for a land this thing tax is where we need to improve on that. So definitely that's where our all urban bodies, one is the RFP process is a really hard thing to crack with their what you call local preferences and other things that is there. And second thing, once it happens, how do we make this a smooth?
I think
because they
Vishwas
don't
is
have. Noopur, we lost you. I think we lost Noopur. So anyway, as I was saying that, Noopur, are you back?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll go on to the second question.
Yes, the second question is to Ganesh. Do you think adoption is less in financial services because of the ease of cancellation of the mandate, or because the instrument is not covered under the Negotiable Payments Act? What are your thoughts on this?
Maybe the latter one. So cancellation, see, as of now, the cancellation is only an right. These are instant payments which the customer can accept or not accept, right? So these the first one may not be the reason for augmentation of penetration. The higher reason is the awareness, right? So like my colleagues also shared here that we have to increase more awareness while BBPS is doing the work. We also in the ecosystem, we have to work together to increase the penetration by creating more awareness, right?
Sure.
I think that's the only drawback.
So I don't think we have any other questions. Last 15 seconds for the delegates in case they want to leverage the esteemed panel for any other questions. Otherwise, back to you, Kavya.
Thank you very much, Noopur, for that beautiful moderation of the entire session. And I think we managed to gather some interesting nuggets of insights from all of our speakers. So I'm going to thank all our panelists for joining us this morning and for sharing your thoughts as well. And I do believe the interaction is also like a two-way bit. We could see a lot of interaction coming on the chat and the Q&A. So thank you, delegates. But with that, as we call to the session, thank you once again, Noopur. Thank you very much to all of our panelists. And thank you very much again for joining us at the Fest.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Noopur.
And a good week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. And meanwhile, delegates, we're also all set with our next set of sessions happening throughout the day. That's the whole beauty about the Fest. A lot of knowledge sessions coming your way. So please stay tuned for all that and more. And with that, we'll call it a wrap to this particular session. See you all in the next set of sessions.
Thank you.